The first started on a residential property at 5325 Eldorado Springs Drive, shortly after 11 a.m.
Today on 9 News Mornings. After more than a year, we finally know what investigators say led to the Marshall Fire. Hundreds of videos gathered by our team, including one that shows why investigators focused on a specific power line. Our afternoon rain showers have been great on our drought conditions, but it's also helping out a bug that you'd probably rather see less of. The Nuggets are thousands of miles away for tonight's game, but the energy is still mile high. And for business owners, that energy means money. 9 News Mornings starts now.
Big money, baby.
So Keely's doing the tick story. She just said, get ready for some really attractive video.
Ew, it's already making me itch. I do not like it. Good morning. Taking a live look outside downtown Denver. That is a Nugget sunrise.
That
right
is a
there,
Nugget
right?
Yes.
Ball Arena going to be packed tonight with Nuggets fans. Game 4 watch party. The watch party, again, it's an away game, but the watch party is already sold out. The game starts at 6:30 tonight.
And we also got our blue and yellow on. You guys, I'm running out of things to wear every time I play. I'm trying to figure out, oh no, I've already worn that this week.
We could go to the mall after work.
There we go.
Worth it. A couple more ties.
My
need to
closet
stock
is
up,
becoming
clearly.
very Nuggets filled. Well, good morning, everybody. Jordan, Corey, Erica, and Keely with you on this Friday morning.
Yes,
How's it
happy
going?
Friday.
Oh man, it's Friday. I'm just thankful for that. We got another round of showers and thunderstorms, of course, in the forecast for this afternoon, but not quite like yesterday. Most of the heavier activity will be staying off to the east of the metro area, but even out across the eastern plains, we will likely see some thunderstorm activity, lightning, thunder, as well as potentially some small hail and some heavy downpours at times. We're at 58 degrees right now out at DIA, but we do have some flood advisories across the state, and these will remain in effect through the weekend. In fact, that includes Greeley, the North Fork, Big Thompson River at Drake, as well as the Colorado River above Grand Lake. Because of those heavy downpours, some of those lower lying areas could be susceptible to some flooding. HD radar showing those storms starting to fizzle out and move off to the east, so we are calm out there right now. Today we're looking partly sunny, scattered afternoon, evening storms with a high right around 80 degrees, so not too bad, Erica.
All right, Keely, great to hear. Kicking off your Friday morning drive at this hour, we are looking great as well. Quiet start as we look live from CDOT at I-70 and 270 at this hour. Just a few cars out on the roads. We want to show you how things are looking on the map. In the last couple seconds here, we had that closure lift along Highway 6 through Clear Creek Canyon from Golden all the way to Highway 40. So that overnight road work has cleared, everything back open and moving. But the thing we want to flag you on today is that road work that begins today. It's along the southbound side of 56th Avenue, right here in the area of Uvalde Street. This work you're going to get really familiar with if you live in this area. It's continuing through November, so through the fall. Access to 56, the best area to access that by is going to be between Peoria and Pena Boulevard. Otherwise, across the metro, travel times looking great. Heading into Commerce City right now, you're in the green.
All right. Thank you.
Nearly a year and a half after the most destructive wildfire in state history, we now know no criminal charges will be filed. Investigators are blaming the Marshall Fire on a 6-day-old embers from an old fire on a religious sect's property and a power line swinging in the wind.
The last 18 months have been hard. And not having answers creates stress and challenges that we don't need. And I hope that now we can focus on rebuilding our lives and getting back to our homes and our community.
Yeah, the sheriff was very emotional yesterday. He did lose his own home in the fire as well. On December 24th, 2021, people were burning trash on a property owned by 12 tribes. It's a religious group. Firefighters came out, said it was okay, so long as they covered the coals with dirt. It was wet and damp that day, and they did. Then the extreme winds of December 30th blew in, reigniting those embers and making the fire impossible to stop. Our 9 News Originals team went through hundreds of videos to capture what happened next.
Including one that appears to show why investigators zeroed in on a specific power line. Here's our Chris Vanderveen.
It's 11:19 a.m. December 30th, 2021.
Oh my God, I can see flames.
Ann Michaels records from this spot as she looks south toward the property owned by 12 tribes. 8 minutes later, Jack Palmer records the same property from a different vantage point.
The wind was changing, and at one moment the whole fire scene would be covered with smoke, and then it would sort of blow away, like reveal it.
This is fire number 1. Investigators now call it the El Dorado Springs Fire.
A massive brush fire that is threatening our house and other houses.
It's small, and neighbors like Makia Minich feel relatively safe.
And at that point, it was just a little wisp of smoke out in the distance. And it's Colorado, it was warm. We're used to wildfires in general.
As I was going up 36 again, the wind was fierce, really fierce.
At this moment, this is the only fire burning. How do we know? Because of this video.
Oh no.
Recorded by Edward Harrell.
Oh.
He's driving south on Highway 93 and captures a key piece of evidence. You might have missed it, so we'll play it back. That right there is an XL line, and that is what's known as the east phase of XL Energy Circuit 1161. It's supposed to be up there, but it's not. Investigators say they will find evidence of electrical arcing in this spot. Oh! Similar to what Harrell recorded in a different location a few minutes later. We should note at this point the first fire is already doing damage to the east.
I got to the Costco parking lot, and it just got worse. Pretty soon there were embers everywhere.
In fact, we won't see evidence of the start of the second fire, the one investigators call the Trailhead Fire, for another 12 minutes. When Mike Soltowski records this, a fire burning a third of a mile south of the 12 Tribes property, right next to the location of XL Energy Circuit 1161. A half hour later, the evacuation of suburban Boulder County is underway. The two fires, investigators now suspect, merged at some point, merge into the fire we know as the Marshall Fire, the most destructive fire in Colorado history. Chris Vanderveen, 9 News.
Investigators say the hanging power line is the most likely source of the second fire, but couldn't completely rule out a couple other unlikely options. For more than a year, we have asked XL if they had anything to do with the fire. They have held strong, saying that in a statement that they, quote, strongly disagree with any suggestion that XL Energy's power lines caused the second ignition. Part of the new investigation did reveal a text message from one XL lineman to his manager saying, quote, I think our lines may have started this fire east of El Dorado just for your SA, which stands for Situation Awareness.
It's worth remembering it took more than old embers and a hanging power line to turn the Marshall Fire into the devastating firestorm that we saw a year and a half ago. The fire was pushed by incredibly high winds that day and fueled by a ton of vegetation. It was greenery that grew during an exceptionally wet spring in 2021 and dried out during a very hot, dry stretch for the next 6 months. Investigators pointed to those factors, issues that have been the focus of climate change studies since the fire. Climate scientists at the University of Colorado say a warming climate contributed to both the heavy spring rain and the drought that followed.
Well, more than 1,000 families lost homes in the Marshall Fire, and one family lost 5 homes across several generations. From his new front porch, we asked Ted Chavez how he felt knowing investigators have reached some conclusions about what started the Marshall Fire.
No, it doesn't even give me a sense of relief. You know, even if a person caught this on fire, it wouldn't have mattered. We should have been ready. The county should have been ready. The city should have been ready.
But this family has embraced the hard, committed to coming back home no matter what it takes. So many other homeowners are frustrated by the slow rebuilding process, waiting on permits and new construction requirements and costs they could have never predicted.
You can go through the timeline of the fire the day that it happened on a website that we built. Head to marshallfiremap.com. There you can see just where and when the fire moved across wide stretches of Boulder County.
And if you'd like to look at more details of the investigation, Boulder County has put all of the documents on their sheriff's page under News and Information.
Happening in a few hours, the EPA and the State Department of Health will be releasing a new study on Suncor. We know the EPA recently compared Suncor to 11 other refineries nationwide that operate under similar requirements. This research focused on the causes and frequency of incidents rather than the amount of emissions. The EPA says the goal is to understand what other refineries might be doing differently to reduce air pollution. Commerce City is still considering suing over the pollution. Last week, they were getting advice from lawyers after Suncor's own environmental reports show it broke state pollution rules more than 100 times since Christmas.